Welcome to the Good Place Marionville podcast, dedicated to the highlighting the good right here in Marionville. If we could get a show of hands right now, I would imagine that almost all of our listeners and watchers either know Janea Coker or know of her as a librarian that has been in Marionville for the past several decades. And we're going to get into all those details in just a little bit. But while her office may no longer be in Marionville, her heart is. Janea seems to show up everywhere and anywhere, and she's always handing out flyers and calendars of what's going on at the library because she's so very passionate about it. You know, her passion for helping children and adults get the resources that the library is offering goes way above and beyond the call of duty. So today, we will be highlighting Boots, Badges, and Bandages, the Community Challenge Blood Drive. Janea Coker and Belinda Belk from the Community Blood Centers of the Ozarks. Welcome to the Good Place Marionville podcast.
Thank you.
Okay, they both are sounding very timid right now, but I know they have a lot to share. So I'm really excited about finally getting Janea on the podcast and getting to talk a little bit more about the library and all that it means for our community. So Janea, we're going to start with you for a minute.
Okay.
All right. So personally, this is, not in your library role, but in your personal role. Tell us about your family and how long you have been a part of Marionville.
Okay. Well, I was actually born and raised here in Marionville. For those that listen to us from the Ozarks Methodist Manor, there is a house that is blue that is known as the Brown's house. And that is because I was Janea Brown before I was Janea Coker. And that is the house that my parents raised me in from the time I was 6 months old. And so all the manor residents are like my grandparents, and it just was really so wonderful to live there. And then Jeffrey and I got married when we were 18 years old in 1986, and I married a Marine. And so we went to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and then he went off to lots of different adventures in lots of different places, and I would come home. And then we have three boys. We have Jonathan, Joey, and Marshall, and they're in their 30s, and we're going to be blessed with grandchildren this year. So we are super excited about that adventure because we have honorary grandkids that are just so near and dear to our hearts, and we're just excited that our boys are also having their family. So
yes, definitely. And there's something about Marionville family, like not coordinating having babies around Applefest time. I don't know what the deal is. So Janea's using that as her pass card this year. No, I've been giving them a hard time about that, but we're very excited for you. So that's absolutely fabulous. So you've been in Marionville with some of the military things taking you other places, and then you guys landed back here. So how long have you worked for the library?
Well, in July of 1996, I started in this facility that we're actually filming this in.
Yes.
And when I first started, it was just myself, and I got a half-day training with a young lady that we did a party for her on her half-day training that she was going to be training me. And so things were a lot different than what we do now at Barry Lawrence Regional Library in the training. And I have, since day one, loved my job. I have, as you stated, a passion for it. And we got to packing out these rooms. We had concerts in the middle of the library. We'd move things, stacks out. We had the authors and all the art shows and different things, and just trying to get the community things like with the blood drive and different things like that. One of the reasons we started doing that is because I worked the 6 days a week and couldn't go to blood drives, so I started having them here in the parking lot.
So if anything that Janea wanted to do, she'd bring it to the library. Is that how this works?
Yes, ma'am.
That's how all the programs get developed. That's awesome.
And everyone is family. And so, I can even think, and I know this is a sad thing, I maybe shouldn't bring this up, but one thing that I think about when I'm in this building is 9/11, because we were here and there was so many people that we were the only place they knew to come. I went home and got a little bitty TV that we had at that time, and I brought it in here, and we had probably 90 people in here.
Wow.
And people, we was giving coffee out, we was giving, drinks out because people they didn't know where else to go.
Right. Truly a community gathering place. For sure. That's awesome. Well, thank you for that. So, Janea, historically, did you always want to be a librarian, or where did that come from?
Well, God has a way, and I guess I am okay to say that, but God has a way of putting us into things that somehow it isn't the path that you think eventually. I actually had wanted to go into social work or teaching. And then, God's basically allowed me to do that
Yeah.
in my position as a librarian as well. And I've always loved books, and I have 14 bookshelves full of, of my own library things at home, and they are cataloged and everything. So I'm such a nerd.
You have your own little dot system.
No, not that much so much. But poor Jeff and anyone that does know me know that our house, we were hit by a tornado, not once but twice.
Okay.
So we flood. So it's like he's my husband, bless his heart. He's a trooper.
Books are priority and all of that, though. Yeah. So what is your favorite part then? You're going on 30 years next year.
Yes.
I mean, that is crazy, amazing. Just anybody to be in a position and, with a loyal employer for so long, that is amazing in and of itself. What has been one of your favorite things that you've done over the years in your job?
Well, it's just the community of, not only, working with the kids in the community. Now I'm seeing their kids and even some of their grandkids for some of the kids. And then I've also worked with the state library over these years. And so I present for the state library. I presented for a national program before. So it's just the opportunities and education that it's given me working with the library and pouring back into people in the community, I think is what's been so much fun.
That is awesome. And what is your current title? What are you carrying as the actual official?
BLRL Program Coordinator.
Okay. Barry Lawrence Regional Library.
Yeah, an acronym thrown out there. Sorry.
And then what coordinator?
Program coordinator. I basically, all the programs are in that book that I love to share with everyone.
Yeah.
There's like 170 programs in there this summer. And that's
the current summer one.
I'm getting ready to go do some that was not thrown in there here in a minute.
I believe it. I believe it.
Those were all, I work with each of the libraries. I work with each of the authors and the presenters and everyone, and we visit and they get to choose. And then I reach out and book them and then go ahead and make sure everything. And a lot of times I'm hands and feet at a lot of the programs. As well as I present a lot of the programs because I enjoy that. I love the teaching aspect of it.
That's awesome. Okay, so we could sit here all day and just talk about books and kids and resources and programs and events and all the things. Why is it that you do what you do, though? What's the bottom line for you?
I just care about people and I have a passion for literacy.
Awesome. Okay, so you brought somebody with you today, and I want you to introduce Belinda. And I see on the screen we have it, Brenda, and I was trying to figure out how to do that, fix it while we're here. But sorry, Belinda, all right. It's right in my head and on my paper. So anyway, we introduce Belinda, and then let's talk about this event that you guys have coming up and why it is so important for our community.
Okay. Well, Belinda and I have worked together for quite a few years. We were actually just trying to figure that out before we came back here to work on this podcast because, as I stated, I've been with the library since 96.
Right.
And then she came on shortly thereafter with her role and then has gone back and forth with different things. And so we've worked together quite a few years.
Awesome. So, Belinda, tell us what you do.
Well, I am the field rep, or in today's world, we call it a donor recruitment consultant.
Okay.
Sound official or what?
And who do you work for?
I work with Community Blood Center of the Ozarks, and our job at Community Blood Center is to supply our local hospitals with their blood and blood products. And that includes 45 local hospitals. Huge job, huge responsibility. But the blessing is our donors understand that, and they are all about helping their fellow man. Our friends and loved ones live in this area, and people respond when they know the need.
Okay, so you hit on something that I read on the flyer that I think is critical that people just may not understand, that the Community Blood Center of the Ozarks actually is the exclusive provider of all of the blood and blood products, as you said, for all of our area hospitals.
That's exactly right. And strangely enough, we have been in business for 30 years as well. We started in 95, so this is our 30th year. And what was happening back then is the hospitals needed a local blood supply.
Okay.
They were dealing with another organization with pricing, with supply and demand, and keeping it local, because this is where we live and work and raise our families. So it was very important to the hospital administration, and then that's how we were created. So 30 years ago, they supplied us with board members and are actually our first payroll to make sure that our local hospitals were supplied with the blood and blood products. You know, there's not a one of us that we're not we're affected by cancer treatments, certainly heart patients, heart surgeries, certainly accident victims, difficulties in childbirth, all of these things and more. We need blood and blood products to help those people be whole again.
Okay, so the first thing you mentioned was cancer. I guess I wasn't aware that cancer patients would need blood help.
Right. Our blood is made up of red cells, platelets, and plasma.
Yeah.
Sometimes a patient needs a whole blood, which is all three of those products. Most of the time, we can separate those out. And that's why you'll hear us say that we are potentially, a blood donor is potentially helping three people because platelets, plasma, and red cells go to help cancer patients, burn victims, accident victims.
Awesome.
You hear on medical shows, give me fresh FFP, fresh frozen plasma, because plasma can be frozen for a year. Platelets last for 5 days. They must be continually moved because that's our clotting factor.
Sure.
And then red cells last 42 days.
Okay.
So a person can give every 8 weeks, which is every 56 days. And so when we come into summer, when we come into difficult, challenging times during the year, such as summer, when people are off schedule, they're on vacation, we appreciate these special events that bring attention to the need that we still need to bring those products in the door.
Okay, so let's talk about this actual event that's coming up that all of the listeners can participate in one way or another. And I would imagine even those that cannot actually give blood, there's other things that they can probably do to help get the word out there.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about July 9th. It is called
Get it all
Boots, Badges, and Bandages. Community chat. Okay. And books.
Of course.
There's all the 4 B's. Community Challenge Blood Drive. So Janea, why don't you highlight a little bit here in the community how people can get involved and why this is so critical to Marionville?
Well, because as she has shared, it does help our people in our community. And we have done this for, like I said, quite a few years, and we want to go ahead and continue to give back. But we wanted to have fun with it this year. And so she and I discussed some different opportunities that we could do that. And she's had this before, but they didn't have the books on there. So, of course, if I'm going to add it on there, and I talked with Miss Lori, I was like, Miss Lori, we got to do this. And so we're going to make it a contest.
Awesome.
And we're going to see how many more we can have. If it's going to be police officers, EMTs, just now with the books part is going to be any of our folks that come in that's our readers, and they can just say, hey, we're voting for the library and the books part.
Okay.
And so we're going to put down which team they're on, basically.
Okay.
So it's like a team thing.
Okay.
And then we're going to let that, and it's just a bragging rights thing. We're not really,
Sure.
So, but there are some wonderful prizes that they are sharing with us that.
Okay, so let's talk about the prizes a little bit, because in and of itself, donating blood is a giving scenario, right? We're there to give, not to get anything in return. But you have made this kind of a win-win, right? Because we have these bragging rights between all the different organizations, and then giving to the people that need the blood, and then also you're giving back a little bit. What's in it for the givers besides the benefit of feeling just like they've helped the community?
Well, each summer we tap into the police, fire, and EMS because they're first responders.
Yeah.
They know why we need the blood and blood products. But this spotlights the amazing work that they do for us. But it also puts a spotlight on us, the need for the blood. And only we can give blood to each other. It's not something that can be replicated. And so it's important for us to give for each other. But this just puts a fun spin on it. You'll get a fun first responder t-shirt. You will get a splash pass. Boy, I'd say that times fast.
Yeah, that's hard.
At the lake. So that's something that we give just to say thank you to our donors. And then you will put your name in for the running for a $10,000 vacation.
Oh my goodness.
So that's exciting and fun. That's something new this year. So just a little ways to say thank you to those who take the time to help save a life.
Awesome. So I'm going to put the link for registration in the show notes for everybody, but there is also a QR code if you see a poster around town or you go to the library. What's the important thing, Janea, about the link? Like they need to you'd like them to be registered for a giving spot, correct?
Right. It does make it a lot easier for them to schedule because they are coming in with the mobile unit, and that allows them to book lots more people and get, the most supply and donations that they can get. So
awesome. So everybody listening, click on the link that's in the show notes, take a moment, look at your calendar, find a time where you can go and donate some blood. Put your vote in for what, whether it's the fire department, the police department, the books at the library, whatever it is, just for, what team you're on, and enjoy some of those other perks as well and see the other community out there. So I'm curious if there is a blood shortage right now.
Well, that's a great segue into what I was going to say.
Okay.
As I was en route here today, we are actually going on what we call critical appeal this afternoon for the negatives, O negative, A negative. So if you are that blood type, please go on our website, cbco.org, and you can put in your zip code and see where there is a place you can go and donate. We have all kinds of open drives open to the public. We also have facilities, of course, in Springfield, Joplin, and Northwest Arkansas, if that's more convenient. But this afternoon, we are going on critical appeal.
That means that especially the short-term stuff you need right away,
correct.
Right?
That and O negative in particular, this is what we need to have on the shelf for emergencies, because when someone is rushed in to get them stabilized, they will typically give them O negative, and then they will give them type specific, but that O negative is the emergency. Anyone can accept that to get them stabilized. So only about 5 to 7% of the population is actually O negative blood.
Isn't that interesting?
It's important that they give not only for themselves, but for others who are in accidents.
Okay, so what if people actually don't know their blood type? When they give, can they find out?
Yes.
So that they know?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
When they give, and that's a great thing to say, it takes about 45 minutes to an hour total to give blood. You're going to bring your identification in, and we're going to put you in our database. You're going to answer some medical health history questions. You're going to donate, and then you're going to have a snack. So that's about a 45-minute to an hour.
Because we don't want you passing out. So you get a snack.
And eat well and push your fluids before you donate as well. Get your body prepared. But that's really important to know those steps, and then it only takes the 45 minutes to an hour to donate. We say that an hour of your life can give someone else a lifetime. Kind of a neat thing.
That is so neat.
But it's really a special thing, especially in the summer, getting back to what you said. When we don't have our high schools and our colleges to go to, those wonderful kids give us about 45 to 50% of our blood supply.
Wow.
So when we're in the non-academic year, this is why we're doing these fun and creative things. There's no one more fun and creative than this lady. So we appreciate that tie-in. We truly do so much, because this gets people's attention. It draws people's attention not only to the need, but how easy it is to help.
And I'm getting ready to push out an email this afternoon to our business community, letting them know about some things that are coming up. And one of the things is this drive. And I will just put this out there to everybody. If you have the ability to let your employees or those that work for you take a time to go and donate. I used to work at a place that we would do the drive in the parking lot. It was a large organization, and we would actually earn a half a day vacation for giving blood.
Right.
Even if you can just make it the incentive that, hey, you don't have to clock out. I'd like you to go give blood. I expect you to be gone for about an hour and go and donate for helping our community. Be creative yourselves. Find ways to incentivize, encourage, challenge other people, even within your office, to say, okay, we're going to all go vote for books, or whatever, or everybody gets to go vote their own thing, whatever it might be. But community, this is a time to come together for this opportunity to fill up the blood banks and do our part, because sadly enough, we've seen accidents on our highway. We know friends that are sick that have needed these supplies, and this is an opportunity for for that. So thank you so much for putting it together and for getting Marionville prepared. You guys have a week to get all hydrated and ready before this happens. Right. And make sure you select your time slots if at all possible so that we can fill them and get as much donated as possible. Janea, before we go on to other news, what else? Now, we can't, you guys know Janea. She's got a laundry list of events coming up that she wants to tell you about. And we will put the link to the website in there so you guys can see it all. But give us a high level, Janea, finishing out the summer. What kinds of things can people expect through the library?
Well, we've got about 80 programs all through Barry and Lawrence regional libraries, lots of authors and different things. And Miss Lori at her library, just go to our BLRlibrary.org. And so we have one of them is our local author that used to live here, Miss Brenda Minton. And so she's going to be in Marionville and in Monette. And like I said, you can check all those dates out on our calendar as well as in our SRC booklet that I've been handing out to everyone in town. So
Miss Lori is the librarian here in town in Marionville.
She is amazing. Her and Donna are and we are open. Is it okay to give the hours?
Go ahead.
So the Marionville Branch Library is now open Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 8:30 to 11:30, 12:30 to 5:30. They actually close every single day, 11:30 to 12:30, because they have to go ahead and take lunch, because sometimes it's just one staff member. Right. Then that could be, like I said, Donna, Lori, or even sometimes myself. So the phone number is 417-463-2675, and they're at 303 West Washington. I do have to tell you, I had to caution myself because it was so easy to say 22 East Washington because I did it for so many years.
That's here. That's Central Place. But we'd be happy for you to stop by here and say hello. But, I think one of the great things is that I see as somebody who watches the parking lot fill up and go throughout the week is you have people coming all the time. But I do think that one of your favorite things right now is chair yoga.
Yes, ma'am.
It at least gets the most people there at one time. So everybody just check out the calendar, see what's going on, and renew those, library. I just got my little text message that said, hey, it's time for it to renew. So, get your card, be involved. There's so much there. We're going to cover some other news, and then we'll come back at the end and see if there's anything else that you've thought of that we need to make sure we plug in. But this is all about good news. And the good news is that we can all take a part in helping the blood bank get what they need, the blood supply, so that the hospitals have what they need to meet the needs in those emergency situations and helping other people with life. So I will say, other good news happening around town. My goodness, thank you to the city of Marionville and to Clayton's Fireworks for an absolutely spectacular fireworks show on Saturday night. It was fabulous. And Bama Man and Joe's ice cream truck, and there was a snow cone truck up at the high school that the FFA was raising money. Every single park that we could see was full of people watching this beautiful display. And we were entertained by Eddie Valen, and that was a lot of fun too, just hearing good olds and having music to all the fireworks. And I just want to say thank you to our town to the city for making that possible, and for Clayton, because you go above and beyond for your community, and we're grateful for that. This episode of the Good Place Marionville podcast is sponsored by Central Place, office rental right here in the heart of Marionville. Individual offices are available for you to work and enjoy a professional atmosphere without the hassle of ownership. 2 offices are currently available with long-term rental discount options, so you can contact me at 417-677-8167. All right, first responder news. I think the biggest thing to say there is, hey, get out to the blood drive and vote with your veins. How about that? Vote with your veins. Why not? All righty. And in business news, the Marionville Business Connect Group is going to be meeting at the Marionville Library on August 7th at 3:30. All of our local businesses and managers are welcome to attend our monthly meetings. We are not going to have a Marionville Business Connect meeting in the month of July. Give everybody a little summer break, so you can go to the library extra. And then in August, we will go to the library to kick off our fall. And B's and G's just reported that they have their new sign up. And if you haven't seen it yet, and especially at night, it is fabulous. And they now have the ability to take call-in orders. So I'll put that phone number in the show notes as well. You guys will all want to plug that into your phones and save it to order your hamburgers and your smash burgers and your
The onion rings is what I go for.
the onion rings. Okay. And their new pie clones, which is ice cream and pie in a blender. The Smash Burger Challenge just finished for the quarter, and the winner is Talan Gold, 17 patties of hamburger on his hamburger, and he finished the whole thing. So congratulations to you, and I'm sorry at the same time because that's a lot of food. I also want to just celebrate the good news that their wait time is down to 6 minutes and 45 seconds. That is an average. And so we are just congratulating them as they continue to have their staff just going above and beyond and helping everyone to get this wonderful food and enjoy the fellowship that goes along with it. Even though the parking lot may look full, remember that it is small, and the Rockstar staff at B's and G's Dairy Crest can crank out the food pretty quickly. So stop even if they look busy. And in fact, you might see a neighbor or a friend while you're enjoying a meal or ice cream. I know we've run into the Cokers there before, so it's easy for that to happen, right, Gina?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the Ozark Manor sent us some nonprofit news. Sandy Arnett is on Coke Drive number 6, and she's been nominated for Marionville's Curb Appeal Award. So congratulations to Sandy for being nominated. And remember to go and vote for the month of this next month of July will now be up. I think June, I guess today would be the last day you can vote for that. I forgot about the calendar. So keep up the good work across town. Everybody's gardens are looking fabulous. So also, the Manor residents are going to be celebrating the 4th of July with apparently some parties and goodies, but they didn't put out a public invitation for any of that. But they did want to thank everybody in the community for supporting the cookout and the car show that they had on the first day of summer. They had a great turnout and a lot of fun, and the band Long Time Running played some great music, and the car show winners were first place was Calvin Fave with a 1966 Chevy C10. 66 was a good year, I'll say. Second place was Ron Naylor with his 35 Ford pickup. And third place was Don Erickson with his 64 Ford Thunderbird. So if you've been itching for more ways to make a positive impact in the community, I want to remind you that Applefest is coming up September 19th and 20th. And we would love for you to be involved. Just message me on the Good Place Marionville Facebook page, and we can talk about where you might get plugged in. All right. That's been a lot, ladies. But I am so grateful that you're here. And we are going to wrap up today's podcast. Janea, any last words that you want to share with the community?
Yeah, just a couple of things. When you was talking about the gardens, we have free seeds at all 9 of our libraries. We have gotten multiple donations. I've reached out to things. People have reached out to me. So we've had businesses, we've had individuals, and we have given away hundreds of seeds to go out into our community so people can feed themselves. And especially with Marionville not having a supermarket anymore, this is so important.
And it's not too late to plant.
No, we're encouraging. We're still doing gardening programs. I am a master naturalist now, so I'm learning things myself even more so. Awesome. And so just wanting to let them know that that is available, that they can come get free seeds at any of their Barry Lawrence regional libraries. And then also the Friends of the Library are going to have a sale in August on the 14th, 15th, and 16th, and they can find out about that from Miss Lori and Miss Donna and myself.
Fabulous. And that sale usually is some of the books that you're moving out of circulation and things like that.
And then just things that people have had donated. And then we allow people to come do their own yard sale, book sale with us and the Friends of the Library. So call the library and we'll be glad to give you more information.
Mark your calendars, because I know I have gotten quite a few books there in the past for a very good price. There's something sometimes that just about having them on your own shelf, not having to get them back by a certain time. I know one of the ones I got was like a very old gardening book. And it's so fun to reference because a lot of the things that they had as remedies, we now buy chemicals for. And so I appreciate that particular reference book a lot. And alrighty, well, ladies, thank you so much for joining me today for the Good Place Marionville podcast. Janea Coker and Belinda Belk, thank you for being our guests.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you also to Central Place for sponsoring today's podcast. Consider becoming a sponsor. You can contact us at goodplacemarionville@hotmail.com. And you can also use that email address to report good news. I would love to hear from you. Good news. Remember, this can be around your neighborhood. It can be something that happened in your home, or that you witnessed when you were at Casey's buying a soda. Whatever it might be, share that good news so that others can celebrate with you. And if you enjoy this podcast, please remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel and click the bell to be notified when each episode releases. Thank you for joining the Good Place Marionville podcast. Keep your eyes out for the good, and together we can celebrate Marionville.